1, let's go. Welcome to the Scott Outpost Investigators Podcast. I'm your host, Softy Mage, and we got a co-host named Savadra.
Hello, hello.
A co-host named Thirsty Bread.
Greetings, people.
Did I say Thirsty Blood or Thirsty Blood? I think I totally
It's
messed
okay.
that up.
But we take
It doesn't matter.
And then we got a special guest, Ethan ZZZ.
Hello, gamers.
So today we're going to be talking about Shiyu Defense, oh my goodness, Season 33, I forgot to change it from the last week, Season 33, and Deadly Assault Season 22. And then we'll be talking about the stunners on how we think they're going to head for the next bit, or how stunners are currently in the meta. Something along that lines. It's Ethan's topic. You like to bring in.
I love stunners.
stunners are cool, but I did get more stunners. I need more. I need the days bar.
Give me my days.
All right, let's go back to Shiyu Defense. So what are your initial thoughts for Shiyu Defense 33?
You want to go first, Ethan? As our
Yes,
beholden
let's-
special guest?
Sure. So, the buff is interesting because I thought there might have been something fire related for Minato, but 20% sheer damage is pretty good. Ether and electric is good for the enemies, I think.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah.
I feel like I actually used my Jiyu quite a bit this rotation, just because of the ether. Pretty standard 4 and 5. 6 was kind of weird because first, I'm sorry, not 6. 5 was kind of weird because the first side was 3 waves and the second side was 2 waves.
Yeah,
That was kinda
also
weird.
caught me off guard, actually. I was like, wait a minute, this guy's kind of tanky. There's a third wave?
Yeah, I was like exactly the same problem. I was like, why is this guy so tanky? There's a third wave, and then I checked and I was like, oh. 6 is fine, it's Hans, it's, I don't like big robots like that personally, but I didn't really, I don't like S-Anby twins. I'm gonna just keep it for real. I don't like how RNG they are. But
Alicus.
Palicus, is that how you say it? I just didn't want to say it wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, Palicus.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. The buff was reasonably strong, I think.
Agree on that one.
I can get behind that one. Feels not only reasonably strong, but also reasonably versatile because it features support type of shill type of thing. It's not like a shill specific type of thing, but it's it's benefiting more of the roster than having the clause of say 1 or 2 attackers in your team, which is not as versatile or not as usable for most team compositions. I do like this buff a lot. I am still fairly intrigued on why it is electric damage instead of fire damage, because you point out I do feel like that would have been a thing for Monato, but and also both of the agents on banner are ether, so them being Lucia and Vivian, but it makes sense that the ether's there. It doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense why the electric damage is there, but
Leftover seed, chilling
yeah,
maybe.
leftover seed.
maybe
like they've
leftover
been-
seed.
I feel like they've been trying to do some leftover seed for the last 3 or 4 buffs, or at least the last few buffs have been electric increase.
Well, I mean, it makes sense with the duration of 2.2 because seed being one of the newer agents, and I guess it would make sense if that was the case for at least the start of this patch, but I'm just curious when that's gonna finally fizzle out.
Oh, actually, S-Anby got a buff as well, so maybe that's why there's electric damage in there.
Oh,
That would
That makes a lot of
make
sense, actually.
Yeah, this would actually be the only logical reason I can come up with, actually. So
I completely forgot
would
about
make
Sandy.
sense.
she's the ghost of ZZZ. She exists as a burger girl.
Actually, a
For the
pretty
record,
good buff for her. because of the ether damage for like Nicole or Astra.
Yeah. For the record, I believe none of us here have Soldier Zero.
No.
Sadly not. I wanted her, but I lost the 50 on her, like on everything else, nearly.
I used Yanagi for every stage except the last one. I used Haramasa.
That's fair. I did something a little funny this cycle because I was like, this buff seems reasonably okay. I'm getting a lot of benefit just from having a support agent, so I did use a support agent in my teams at the end of the day, but I went more anomaly than not, as in I basically only cleared with anomaly. I played in the early nodes I played Jane, and then in the later nodes I played Yanagi, but I also played them both with Seth and Lucy, the 1.1 classic. And then on the Ether team, I basically played Mono Ether Vivian with the Astra and Nicole combo, and it was very funny, and it worked. It was very cool. The Shiyu is very nice. It's not too bad, yeah.
Yeah, I can agree on that. The Shiyu was pretty funny. I went with one of my favorite teams with Yusuha, Haru, and Trigger again. But this time I actually used Manado a lot until I saw that there's Pelicus, and I was like, you know what? As much as I like to play with Manado, I don't really want to play with him against Pelicus. So I was like, you know what? Nah, I will do something else. Overall, it was a pretty good Shiyu again. Like the last time, we had quite a variety of bosses, and the buff is honestly pretty decent. With a little speciality at the second buff that there is support. I think this is pretty fine. So the shielding in this Shiyu is actually not that hard, which is, I think, that's okay. That's something I can accept. What do you think, Softy? Can you also accept this Shiyu buff?
I really do accept the Shiyu buff because I do not have electric agents that would go against the electric weaknesses we had in the last 6 and 7. So I actually used Ether against both of those to take advantage of the buff. So that made it a lot easier to combat these the electric weakness that I lack. So I had I did use Lucia to just get used to her, and then I used my anomaly team of Vivian and Miyabi on the 7, and then Vivian and Bernice on the first half of 6.
I also noticed the resistances are like not really present. There's like 2 enemies with ice resistance, and then 1 enemy. Okay, actually 2 enemies. I looked at 5. 2 enemies with physical resistance, and then the specialized assault bomber having fire resistance. But it's a pretty good spread all around, to be honest. I mean, the 3 elements that are not being favored in the buff, as in fire, physical, and ice, have some of those resistances, but if you're playing to favor the buff anyway, that's basically not an issue. However, it's also not so overlapping that you also cannot play element neutral into everything, because the support buff from the buff effect is still just that good.
Now that I think about it, I have a bill open with what's this guy called again? The specialized assault bomber. I need to try my Jingi, Nicole, and Shuyuan again on him.
Yeah,
Let's see
right.
how
You did that from your video, didn't you?
Mayhaps. But yeah, I think there's something I have to discuss with this guy, honestly. So yeah, I will do that probably after this podcast.
You know, that was a platform and a half for you to shameless plug, and you just didn't take it.
I did not want to. Yes, I tried to.
respect it. I respect it. Okay.
We can talk maybe about it later, but for now, let's focus on the Shiyu side.
I want to go back to Bomber here because the fact that there was 2 Bombermen on the same node, I didn't really realize that. Like, I thought I was facing one Bomberman, and then I was like, okay, hit the first one. He's like, wait a minute, there's a second one?
I actually, the idea is pretty interesting, and it's not the Bomber, the other one is called the Gunner, so he's slightly a little bit different.
Oh,
but yeah,
you are correct.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was like, oh, there's this guy, and I was like, why is he black? You know, and I'm like, oh, this is a different one, and then I was like, there is the golden one. There you are. He's hiding.
You see, it's an allegory for Dragon Ball because one has the black outfit, it's the black hair, it's Goku when he's not powered up, and then the other one's yellow. It's the yellow hair.
It's a two-faced fight, really.
Yeah.
He powered up. Man, they could have at least do the animation correctly, you know, like like the screaming and all. Oh well.
I was kind of worried that the first wave guy was going to be like too tanky, but no, he kind of gets melted. So,
I mean, I went in with 1 minute 18 seconds with Harumasa, so I was like, damn, these guys going down fast. It was just one stun window and it was over, so I was actually surprised about that. So,
yeah, I think what Ethan was talking about was like the Flame Canter situation from that one Shiyu a long while ago, where Flame Canter was just bulky as hell for no reason. I think that
Flame Canter before, what was it? The big Ravenous guy?
I think it was Jester.
Was it
I
just?
remember it being all Jester.
I think it was just honestly though, I think the Flame Canter is just generally tanky, because even sometimes I remember in the story notes, etc., he was also always the one that had quite a lot of HP. Maybe he's just this kind of type. Like, he's a summoner, so he put all his stats into HP and defense. Maybe.
I'm doing research. This may take me a little bit. But
I triggered Sumatra's interest. I see. He needs
It's
to
actually, Chingy really is good against mini bosses because you only need to do her whole basic against one time to get the max stacks.
True.
So like that makes the rotations like really fast, and then she also like stuns really fast too because those assault guys don't really have that much days.
Yeah. Oh, Chingy is pretty good here. I haven't actually tried Chingy DPS on any of these. I should do that as well in the future. Would be interesting how she performs.
Yeah, I do have a good Chingy electric stunner, so that's what I used for the electric weakness for the bomber or the assault men. I should call it, instead of the bombermen, the assault men. So I use Ishwen, Chingy, and Lucia, and tried out that team, and that works pretty well. Ishwen and Chingy still doing thing, just switching Astra or Jufufu with Lucia makes it really quick. But that was because the buff really favored Lucia.
okay, so I found it. I was incorrect. It was not the Jester. Both appearances of the Flame Canter since its first appearance, and I believe season 25 was 2.1, if not 2.0, one of those two. The Flame Canter was basically always with the Rampant Brute, and the first time it was there was season 25. It had 7 million HP, and then the second time was season 28, and it had 8.2 million HP. The Assault Gunner, for comparison, the one that's the first wave of Node 7 in this current Shiyu, has 5.4 million HP. So
yeah, there's a huge difference then.
Yeah, that much HP, and then also the ads. That's a lot.
yeah.
It's really
Well,
just
back then, Both back then were also a little more anomaly focused. Okay. There was one anomaly focused, and then the other one was stunned, gave you shear and such, which doesn't really work with Rampant Brute. I'll just note that and cast it out of my head immediately. But that's worth talking about a little bit. So there you go. That would be why.
Well, we started with Shiyu 7 on accident. We have to talk about the other floors too.
I mean, it's okay if we can go from 7 and downwards. It doesn't really matter, honestly.
Any notes on Palicus?
The only way I could get him was actually put him in the corner because, yeah, I tried to charge right in and take them both on, but I just was not grouping them enough to deal damage to both of them. So I had to switch the corner method for the first time.
Certified reruns corner strat. Gotta look at the corner.
Strat. Well, 2 girls, 1 burger, I guess, right?
Don't make those references.
I'm sorry, this just came top of my head. I'm sorry. But yeah, I were using Astra, Chain, and Vivian for just trying the anomaly stuff on there, and it was actually a pretty good run, unless one of those enemies just teleported away, and I was like, well, thank you for nothing. And I killed the one on the first stun window, and then I had to deal with the 1 rotation because I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not restarting it. But it was fine. So it was actually one of my longer runs, 2 minutes 20. So I actually skill shot hard in this one. It is what it is.
I actually got a minute and a half, or a minute 29 and then minute 28 on both sides. So it was like one of my faster runs that I've ever had for Shiyu.
That's cool. Let's go.
I think my time was somewhere in like the 1:30 to 2 area. Let me look real quick. I have the game open. Need to go to Shiyu defense.
Ethan, do you know your times?
Also,
go ahead.
Also, I'll say Palicus with Mono Ether and Vivian Hypercarry is kind of interesting. Wow. I was slow, never mind. I had a 221 with the Yanagi Seth Lucy on the Assault Bomber, and then 203 with Vivian Nicole Astra.
I mean, it's still not that bad, honestly. Especially thinking about the teams you used, you know.
I did 148 with Haramasa against the Bomber. Classic, Chingy Nicole. And then minute 18 on Palicus, and that was with Alice. Now, this Palicus has double the health since the first one. The first one had 7 million each. This one is 14 million each. With Alice against this boss, you kind of just do the whole basic and hope that they're both corporeal, so they actually get the assault. Because there's no real strategy with that. I don't really like the corner carry stuff because I feel like it's too RNG, and I'm just gonna be sitting there resetting over and over again. Not really something I find fun for just Palicus specifically. But I just would use Alice, and hopefully they're both active when her assault triggers.
Yeah, I get that.
I did have one stall phase. I don't know what we call that, where they go invisible and they do a bunch of the moves.
I just call it the invulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
I did almost get the invulnerable skip with the Vivian thing. I got a good parry sequence, and I was staggering stun on them 3 times, and then both of them woke up and then did the invulnerable, and then I killed one of them and couldn't proc corruption on the second one, and then he just went invulnerable immediately after.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
I skipped the first invulnerable. So I only, after I killed the first one, it went invulnerable afterwards. So I just got to be fast enough to skip at least the first one.
I didn't got the first one because I was in my first stun window. I killed already one of these, so the second one decided to immediately jump and teleport, do their Angie teleporting. So yeah,
I will say I do think the health that Palagus released with was probably on the lower side, considering that they have 200% stun multiplier.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is like the appropriate amount of health, 14 million, but it didn't feel like that they were. It didn't feel like they were made out of paper anymore. That's kind of good.
I think it's still good that like the right like rotation. It feels rotation based instead of specifically agent or like specifically matchup based. It feels like with the right rotation, a good lot of teams can still probably one stun, just because that stun multiplier is so high. So I think it felt fine.
I remember doing the last the last time when Pellicus was showing up. I did run them with Hugo, like Lycan. What was it? I think it was Lycan, Trigger, and Hugo. And I got a pretty good RNG, so I was actually stunning them 2 times in a row together, which was quite an amazing sight, honestly. Then one died, and I had to do the other one with the third stun window. But nevertheless, it was a good run, honestly, with Hugo. It looks amazing.
Can Hugo stun them twice before they do their invuln phase, or no?
But I would have to watch the video. I think did I skip the first one? That's a good question. No, I don't think I skipped the first one. No.
Hugo on a double boss situation like that is actually really interesting to think about. Because you're like staggering stuns, but you have to like kind of leverage the extra days that he gets from using his EX so that you can kind of balance the totalizes.
True. Oh, wait.
Sounds really fun, actually. Man, I wish I had Hugo.
Wait a minute. I remember now. It was actually not Lycan. It was Jingyi. I think it was Jingyi. Let me check my video. Let me check it quickly.
Oh.
Even when the boss is 200 stun mult, we still use Shingy. Our greed knows no bounds.
I'm greedy. Hey, I had one of in one of those DAs in the past. I had like I think 310% stun damage multiplier. It was against UCC with my wonderful DPS Jingy, Trigger, and I think Nicole team. So it was wonderful to see.
So you need the lighter M1 on that team, not for the elation buff, but to get that extra stun damage mult, and bang, instant like 345 stun damage multiplier, easy peasy.
Easy, absolutely.
Definitely
easy.
worth it.
All right, so well,
I actually kind of think they maybe missed an opportunity to give Hugo like his own stun mult. Wouldn't that be kind of funny? Like if you get a chain attack, they give like 50% stun mult or something.
That maybe
self-sufficient stun mult.
On top of everything else that like he already gets multiplied for his totalized, that might be a little too much. Like if they transferred some of the stuff into his other thing, then maybe that could have been something. Could have maybe caused for some moderately interesting stun rotations that weren't just totalize every stun immediately. But I think as it currently is, it probably wouldn't have worked.
So yeah, I found the video. It was Hugo Trigger Jingy. And I just have the stun multipliers, right? When I both stunned them. One of those had 295%, and the other one was on 315% stun damage multiplier.
Incredible.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah, and it actually took me 1 minute, 31 seconds on that run. It was 3 months ago.
With that much stun damage, what are you doing?
I mean, it was I don't know. Maybe it's because it was Chingy and Trigger, you know, it wasn't his optimal stunners. So I was also chilling. It was you actually even commented on the video. So it was my casual run. I didn't really hard try that one.
I have to look at that again. But okay. Moving on then.
Let's go to 6 then. I thought it was cool that Thirsty was right about basically right about the next hands / overclocked.
Yeah, I was positively surprised, honestly. Still, I think we didn't got the Friday, so I'm a little bit sad about that part.
Yeah, only partially right.
Indeed.
It's Friday has been out of commission for a while. It's okay. Bellbog's building them right back up. Don't worry. But yeah. This Han's like being, you know, the overclocked variant and the Ether Week. 1 makes sense, and 2 is really nice. I like this one because I like playing Julian and Vivian into the robot enemies anyway. And if it's Ether Week, then you know that's just better for me.
It will kill.
I will destroy the robots.
Yeah, no, the robots were pretty fine.
Actually, funny thing in my Vivian run with the Vivian hypercarry thing, I managed to get 1 leg impair like near the very end of the fight. My time was like a 143 on that half, and I was like, I got an impair. That's really funny.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think I actually got
like
any
mostly-
impairs this time.
Because it's mostly anomaly damage that's happening from all the corruption procs, so it was just interesting that I got an impair.
True.
I am no good at impairs.
Even just heals, he doesn't need impairs.
That's
It'll take 3 minutes, but I'll do it.
He's just my goat like that.
Wait, 3 minutes for real?
Probably closer to 2:30, I think. I did take me 3 stuns with G1.
Oh, okay. Even with the Ether weakness, holy.
I'm gonna run the free-to-play Julian team and then knock it 230 and say that S-Anby is better than Chingy. Don't worry.
It's a good idea.
Oh,
I wanna see that.
How did you feel about either one, Softy?
Yeah, I just used Yuxuan and Qingyi on that side, and it just went minute 45 on overclocked. And then, honestly, one of my faster ones was Lumberjack. I did a minute 19 Vivian Bernie, so definitely and Yuzuha, so definitely that Ether increased damage was a factor in that run.
Yeah, that disorder damage seems like it would be really big with the Ether weakness and the Ether damage bonus and Yuzuha and the attack bonus. That seems like it would be a really big disorder in corruption. Very
Yeah.
nice.
So,
And
I
nothing
think-
really new to say about the bosses, honestly. Like, at this point, we have talked about all of them.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it was basically a repeat of last week or last time for 6 and 7, or not 6 and 7, 5 and 6.
We'll say about 5 very quickly. Like I read the key enemy info for the Trinox and the miasmic, the frenzied maniac. Their key enemy info lists that they have like combo mechanics with each other, the Trinox and the frenzied maniac, the miasmic variant. Like they have combo mechanics and they technically play off of like a synergy with one another in a similar fashion to how Palicus does, but they didn't put both of them in either of the in either of the lower floor Shiyus at this, like, in this current stage. I'm like, why didn't they do that? That would have been kind of interesting to see. I feel like maybe it will become a thing where they become a boss, a like dual boss thing on floor 6 and 7, but they're also like elites, so I'm not entirely sure.
I remember
Like I
facing
don't think they
this.
can summon. I don't think they can summon miasma fields by themselves either. Because if they could, that would be really interesting. Like if they're in combo and then like you kill one and then it goes immediately into miasma, that'd be kind of neat.
Interesting, honestly. Yeah. Is this actually the new enemy? One of the new enemies, right? In the story.
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't played it yet. I need to, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I was about to say that I faced both of them in the story, and that was a fun fight. For just facing both of them at the same time. They did have the RNG that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But also like another kind of mini boss one that I won't spoil, but might be in a new Shiyu upcoming. Surely.
Ooh, okay.
Surely.
Interesting. I love new bosses. Let's go. We need more in Shiyu anyways. Where is my Hornets and the Nineveh tentacles? Where are they? I need them in my Shiyu as well. And the crab. I just repeat it every time now. I want. Give me.
Ethan, what about you? I think you said you liked both 5 and 6, so what about 5 for you?
5. Okay, I will say one thing. They, and you might have already talked about this in a previous podcast, they really love to use those mercenary doppelgangers.
Yeah. It's a classic.
It's always one of them, and then in the second wave, it's another 2 of them. So, and sometimes they mix it up with the first one, but I feel like maybe they went too hard on making the other doppelgangers bosses with 3, like a 3-chain boss, not like an elite enemy. Because I think it'd be a lot cooler if maybe like Hugo was one of these on like a second wave or like a third wave or like just anything but the mercenary doppelgangers, please.
I was half expecting, also kind of story spoilers, but I was half expecting the Monato doppelganger to be an elite, but then it's like you can look at him in the expert challenge and then he's on the same tier as the Jane doppelganger being a mini boss, and I'm like, oh, okay then. It kind of makes sense, but yeah, they should do more like actual doppelgangers that are like, elite variants that, aren't, the defector or Monato, I guess. They need more doppelgangers, and like I think it's a hard problem to solve because most of them are like they're supposed to be representative of like humanoid characters, and most of the humanoid characters we come across are people that we can then play. So the design philosophy of the doppelgangers pretty much right up until the defector was that they were like kind of shadow like enemy type fights for agents that are playable in the game or already have like well-established kits or whatever. And it leads me to believe that if Isolde was supposed to be playable at some point in their development process, she was either scrapped or something turned and she was just made for the purpose of like being a plot point in the previous story, like the previous chapter story. And I'm not sure what happened, but I'm gonna say it needs to happen more because I really like the Isolde fight.
Yeah, Isolde fight is great.
Actually, it's a preview for when she is playable.
It's true.
Imagine.
But wait, we already got playable Isolde. She's called Lucia.
Huh.
For those who don't know, Lucia voices Isolde and Mevrek. They're all the same voice actor.
Oh.
That's funny. Okay, I didn't know that one.
Quite the range.
Actually, where's my Shadow Miyabi? I want my Shadow Miyabi. Also, if if we need more bosses, how about just bringing those shadow figures into DA? Make Shadow Miyabi a DA boss, please. Let's go.
That would be interesting, actually.
I think
Right.
it should just be
I think-
too small. I
This
like
is,
the-
no, this is perfect.
Yeah, we can say we can go to Deadly Assault here and just be like, before we even talk about Deadly Assault, just the fact that a lot of Deadly Assault bosses are at good size, so that way you can actually face something instead of like, whereas the a lot of the Shiyu defense, where they're actually like the same size as you, makes it a little bit harder to, but at least it's the smaller arena as well.
Averus is not really happy about your statement.
It's it is a pretty common thing, even among like the characters that do get like humanoid size models. Like they end up being slightly bigger than most of the agents, like model size in the actual fights. Like given what we know about Ravarok and Defiler, and also the Fiend falls under this category as well. It's like they're bigger than the agent's like biggest model size that you can see in the game, and I do think that's good for the sustained fights, just so that like in worst case scenario you turn off damage numbers and then you can see things a lot better, but there are still a fair few agents that have a lot of visual clutter on screen, like particularly Nicole or Miyabi,
Yishuan.
Yishuan.
Or
They're
just
a
the
fair
damage
few.
numbers in general, like you said.
Yeah.
I think Wandering Hunter might be the smallest they're going to do for Deadly Assault.
He's also still pretty big, so
He reminds me of well, maybe it's because I played the story, but he reminds me of like a tyrant from Resident Evil. If anybody's played Resident Evil.
I think I know what you
have
mean.
not.
Yeah, we
Just a
don't
big
want to.
guy that walks.
We don't want to go into that quite yet, because that's actually next week's boss. So we'll leave
Yeah.
that surprise and
True.
speculation for that.
True.
But-
Next
But
episode,
also-
we're going to talk about how Wandering Hunter is Pyramid Head. Stay tuned.
Let's go.
So one thing I want to talk about is going to the buffs of Deadly Assault. They still
boy.
are doing like double attacker for the combined attack buff, which I do not like. Rupture, I understand. Shillant, so Lucia gets her shine, but like these 20% for one attacker and then 60% increased damage for if you have two attackers. And if you did not pull on 2.2, you can sort of feel that you're not doing as much damage with the one attacker compared to possibly two attackers with that distinct difference.
Yeah, I feel that because I skipped 2.2, so that's definitely something you kind of feel. Even though I went with my, the classic team user, Haru and Trigger, I got still 37k on Defiler, close to 38. So actually, the result is pretty good. But then again, I mean, like, you still don't get really a lot of the buff. The only good buff, honestly, is the anomaly. This one is fine, but the other twos are way too focused and specialized for certain agents. And if this continues this trend, it's actually not a good thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm hoping that the combined attack does go away and actually just is sort of normal to like one attack setup, because a lot of people did not pull on 2.2 is from what I hear, so they don't have the account or the agents to really do the double attack.
Yeah, same goes honestly with Pinnacle. Pinnacle is such a, I mean, it is a shield buff in a shield buff if you think about it. You have, it actually it gives you the Rupture buff, but if you only play Monado without Lucia, then you don't even get the one of these buffs. So it's like, come on, this is a little bit, that's just slightly ridiculous. But yeah, what do you think, Ethan?
I feel like combined attack specifically is punishing people that pulled Orphe and not Seed because of the electric damage increase.
Yeah, that also.
But because I used Evelyn Orphe as a double attack, so I can use combined attack. I just am missing out on 20% electric damage. But 60, I feel like specifically for like deadly assault buffs for attackers, they just pump crit damage. It's like 60% crit damage is like so much crit damage. So like when I use Jafufu, it's like, what's the point of using Jafufu when a buff gives me almost the exact same amount of crit damage as Jafufu, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really know what the math with crit damage, like how much it actually scales, but like I have like 360 crit damage on Evelyn when I have Jafufu, and I use that buff. So it's like way too much, I think.
The numbers are quite high in terms of the crit values. It's leaning to a point where, like, for specifically attackers, it's like not only is Pen becoming more valuable because of the miasma and the increase in defense stuff that is gonna be coming up with some of the newer like matchups, Wandering Hunter specifically, but the primary thing is feeling like you put a lot of attack in your build for your attacker, as opposed to like worrying too much about like either crit stat, to be honest, crit damage or crit rate, because it seems like if it's like in buffs, it's going to be a lot of crit damage or like a lot of crit, and then in stuff like engine passives, or if you have something like Unfettered Game Ball, they get a pretty good amount of crit rate. So it kind of just feels like you're like the build expectancy is changing to where you kind of want to just pump a lot of attack and stats and kind of hope and pray that they keep putting crit damage specific stuff into the things. But when they stop doing that, you also have to readjust your builds, and it's kind of an annoying process adapting for like every specific thing, every specific cycle. It's something I do, and it's a part of the reason why I get away with a lot of the things that I do. But it is like you're right. There's a lot of crit dumping in the like buffs by themselves. I also have many complaints about Pinnacle, but I'm going to shelve that for the next episode because I have a lot of thoughts.
If they continue to
sort
fill it
more.
Yeah.
What I'll say about Pinnacle is that I feel like 30% sheer damage is like a lot of sheer damage.
30?
Yeah,
Isn't sheer damage math like way different?
I've learned that the damage percent on like sheer agents is very different than the damage percents on the standard agents. I don't think it's directly caused by the removal of the defense multiplier in their damage formula, but I think it's just they benefit so much more from generic damage bonuses. Like, it's not as easy to dilute that to the point where it's like you're typically feeling like, quote, oversaturated on the stat on attackers and to an extent anomaly agents when you have like over 100 or so. And with sheer agents, apparently like most people are looking at like diminishing returns in like the 200 to 250 range. And I'm not sure how that happened, but it kind of did.
Think
They have to look more into the formula.
What about Dream Delusion? How are we feeling about that one?
I like Dream
It's
Delusion.
fine.
Good buff.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So 40 anomaly proficiency is not a lot, but it's still something. But the anomaly damage does feel specifically that it's better for the hypercarry anomalies compared to playing a explicitly disorder playstyle, which kind of clashes with how you would play an anomaly team into Butcher for the disorder performance points, but it still feels alright. Doesn't feel bad for the for disorder teams.
Yeah.
I just think the anomaly damage percent is strictly different from disorder damage percent. So you're not getting the effect from that when you're doing like burn or DOT like anomaly disorders.
Yeah. I mean, it is actually the best buff out of these three,
I
simply
agree.
because it is a general buff for all anomaly agents, so every anomaly can use it, and this is a good buff. The other twos are like eh. But combined attack, we also forgot about one agent. Why it's probably electric element, S-Anby.
And we just
So
keep
yeah.
leaving S-Anby right off the shelf, huh?
Yeah, it's S-Anby Seed or S-Anby Orphe. So basically, I guess this is why the electric damage is in there, since she got buffed again.
I'll be curious how the 1 or 2 agent, like attack agents with attack specialty, like buffs change when we get more sub attackers that go like that are meant for like double attacker. But
I actually want to say that on the double attacker team comps, they're trying to copy Anomaly with going that route. So why are they doing that? Unless they wanted to go a different angle than what Rupture is trying to do is just be the main attacker and then the stunner and support. So it's sort of interesting how they changed how attackers are with this sort of buff, or in general when Orphe and Seed came out.
I think I agree with you in the regard that having 2 attackers that are meant to do their own thing is the same principle of like resource management as double anomaly teams, in particular like an on-field and an off-field type of thing. I think that principle is like a correct assessment, but I do think that playing the double attacker teams from Seed and Orpheus does feel a lot different than playing the anomaly, like double anomaly teams and like disorder focused teams. Mostly because of the resource that you're paying attention to, not being the anomaly bar as much. But it's like really hard for me in particular to like I do this like type of thing when trying to figure out specific playstyles. I try to train my eyes basically to like note what it is my resources are at a given time and like make my decisions and my rotations based on where I am in my resource pool. So like if I have energy on an agent, I'll like basically look at that and be like, okay, I'm gonna try and use the energy to not overcap, or like if it's right before my asthma, yada yada, stuff like that. With attackers, it feels harder to kind of quick swap them as fast as I want to, and this might just be me not being completely used to how like either Seed or Orpheus work, but I feel like they are a lot slower tempo than Anomaly as a whole. I don't know if anyone else can attest to that as much, being better Seed or Orphe users, but they do feel like you kind of do the one thing that you want to do on the one attacker and then swap over, do the other thing on the other attacker, and like get that resource, do something maybe out of stun, and then focus on the stun primarily. Where with Anomaly, you're basically always constantly doing things back and forth. Like regardless of anomaly buildup, you're trying to manage anomaly buildup in the same way, but I don't know. It feels it feels different to me overall.
I think
Yeah,
it's exactly. Oh, sorry, Thirsty. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say and agree that it is definitely different since attackers still focus more on the stun window, while anomaly is basically usable at any given time. So
Like the fundamental of like the distinction of the attacker archetype is still there. It just I can see where the point of them trying to mimic anomaly comes from. It just still feels different.
yeah, it's just a different gameplay. It brings more variety also to the attacker class, so I do like it. Also, even sorry, you can also continue.
Well, yeah, it was like the same thing. Like, right, attackers players still have to play around the stun window, even if there are two of them. Anomaly doesn't have to play around the stun window. I think what they want us to do, two attackers go with a stunner, two anomaly agents go with a support agent. So that's why Seed gives such a juicy attack buff. It's so you can kind of forego an Astra and just use Seed, an attacker, and then a stunner. So
Oh, that's actually an interesting take. I didn't thought about that. That with the off-field stunner we have, that actually makes sense. So that we just use the supports for anomaly then, or for the new rupture. Ah,
as
Rupture
like,
needs the
interests me.
stun and the support, so
true. They need actually both. Yeah.
and that's how
my bad,
attack was
yes.
before Orphean Seed.
There it is.
yeah, attackers before Seed just kind of ran like what, a stunner and then Astra, or Astra Nicole. So I think Seed was just kind of maybe a a remedy to like Astra Nicole, just something that attackers can use that's like not so, I don't know, boring.
Fair enough.
But I also still think they want to make sure. Well, we'll talk about stunners like towards the end, I think. But they saw how strong that just Astra and Nicole were by themselves without a stunner. That they tried to remedy it by making a character that doesn't want Astra but actually still wants a stunner. Does that make sense?
This honestly feels like a great transition into the stunner topic.
Yeah. I agree.
If we have like nothing remarkable to talk about for the rest of the Deadly Assault, but it's
I
like
We
was
know
about-
all bosses.
Yeah, we've talked about all these bosses. We don't really need to go into that. We just mainly need to talk about the buffs and stuff like that. So yeah, we can just go straight into the stunner topic. Ethan, you're the one that wanted to talk about stunners, so you start her off.
Let's go.
Yeah. So stunners. So like, how do I want to word this? I feel like stunners were progressively increasing in power. Kind of. So like you have S-Anby, your first character in the game who's also a stunner, provides no real buff to the team. And then you could maybe get to Kaleda, who provides a chain attack buff, which is really weird and niche. And then you have Lycan, who is like an actual, like, he feels like could be a limited agent with his buffs for being 1.0. Ice Res, stun multiplier. Kind of feels like he was like the finalization of all the stunners of 1.0. That's kind of where they fell on it. And then Shingy comes out, and it makes sense because she provides a bunch of stun mult. Stunners providing stun mult. Yep, seen it before. But then you get all the way to Lighter. I don't want to be the guy because you know me. Lighter just provided so many different things. Chingy provided stun mult. Lighter provided damage, stun extension, res.
Yeah.
And then they didn't really release the stunner for a while. Then we had Pulchra and Trigger, who were aftershocks. And that was a whole different archetype of stunner. Pulchra seems like a pretty reasonable free-to-play character. I think we can all agree here. Especially at M6, she seems pretty fine.
I was very surprised about the results I had with her. So yeah.
Day one Pulchra believer right here.
Yeah, I used Pulchra for a while. Never really struggled too much with her. She always kind of carried her own.
Hulker enabled my core and to do the A team for my runs that I've done in the past.
She also she was physical, which was a good element, I think, for stunners. And then Trigger, who I personally think is actually probably the best stunner for like anomaly teams, just because she doesn't really need her additional, and defense shred in Sun Molt outside of Sun is like perfect for anomaly agents.
Yeah.
And then Jifufu came out, and because Jifufu was the same type as Lighter, everybody expected her to either be power creep or bad, and she kind of fell into the community's thing as being whatever. When I find Jifufu to be the best enabler for maybe a double attacker or a rupture team. And now that more rupture agents are coming out, I think Jifufu stocks are going to go up. But I still feel like at the end of the day, she's going to be overshadowed by a specialty stunner like Lighter. Because now Lighter has Orphe to, give as additional 2 rupture agents that are going to be Ice and Fire.
I do feel like there's been a bit of a debate on how the development of stunners has kind of shaped over the course of the game, and not getting into specific tier list drama again or whatever, but there are a lot of people just in general that tend to lump the stunners in just a general support description type of class thing, mostly because the facet of days has become overall less valuable, it seems, to I guess to most people than the benefits that the stunners provide otherwise. It's what is the stun speed that you get from someone like Trigger, who scales off of crit rate and gets a lot of stun days boost from having 90 crit rate and 4-piece Shockstar, in comparison to either having just her engine for the Death Shred and not as much impact. Actually, I don't know if her engine is actually that good for days. I haven't looked at it, but I think it's still pretty solid, but probably not as fast as something like, let's say, the Restrained. But then you have that dynamic, and also the fact that you could trade off putting a 4-piece Shockstar on Trigger for something like 4-piece King of the Summit. And ever since, I guess, Trigger, and I mean we've only had 1 stunner since Trigger, we're gonna have 2 with Dial In, but I think the idea that Jifufu gives so much crit damage that she does might be trending in a direction where this has been a thing for a little bit, but pure stunners aren't as valuable as having a sustained buff throughout the majority of the fight where you're not stunning.
Yeah, that's why Chingy fell off.
So it's
She did, yeah.
Has Chingy fell off though? Because she's getting kills with each one.
Well, yeah. She's getting kills, but I also am gonna attribute that to, I think Pinnacle is extremely overtuned.
You're right, it is Pinnacle.
I saw a video thumbnail from Average Luck Gamer that was basically posing the argument that Pinnacle by itself, from not even having Lucia or the engine, but being able to use Pinnacle because you have Lucia and are then able to access Ether Veil Wellspring, was a 26% on average score increase for the teams that she's able to run in. And full disclosure, I didn't watch that video. I don't know if that's actually what he was trying to say, but that's what the thumbnail presumed. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Because I think
I do think Pinnacle is a 10k increase.
It's
It's
a 10 to
ridiculous.
15k increase is when I remember the video was about.
Yeah,
it is kind of ridiculous, but
So maybe we'll have to come back to Lucia when the buff isn't so crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that this either doesn't continue or continues in a manner where Ether Veil Wellspring ends up becoming something more universal than just for Rupture agents. And that goes apart into, like, my rant about that buff specifically, which I said I would save for next time, and I will. But all that to say, in relation to the stunners topic right now, it's pretty clear, like, where the evolution of stunners is going to go. Might be favoring a little less day speed over having like buffs, or if there are going to be like stunners that can stun really fast in the future, they're probably going to like have something similar to Qingyi, but also still provide a buff of some sort. And I think it's a balance of like, if they're going to stun really fast, then the support efficacy that they need to provide has to be really low, or else they're like busted broken. And then vice versa. If they provide a lot of buffs, then they need to stun not as fast, or else they'll be busted broken.
True. It will be interesting, definitely, how the stunner topic will go, especially with Dialin on the horizon soon as well. After it, I think, was she the first introduced or the second introduced?
In the drip marketing, she was first. So
she was first, so we can expect that she will also go first in the 2.4 update. Yeah, so this will be interesting for Stunner specifically, especially if there will be with the Stunner buffs. I hope it will be a little bit more generalized so that plenty of other Stunners are able to shine again for a change, like Qingyi.
Yeah,
I also hope so. So I really want a like good generalist stunner that isn't Jofufu. I just want a second one so I can use a decent stunner again. Because outside of Jofufu, I have Lighter, and I use Lighter a good deal. But other than that, I have Anby and Kaleda, and as much as I love them, it's really
Rough.
showing that they are just there to stun fast, and that's not doing as well in this day and age.
Yeah, it's if it doesn't receive any buffs, then it's like you miss out on some point. It gets harder. There's possibilities to clear, but it gets really difficult. That's for sure.
I do want to say Qingyi, like you said, was not is used in Yixuan teams, and I love my Qingyi, so I don't want to say that she's fallen off. It's just the fact that Quick Swap is where she really shines more than being the dedicated stunner. When we had Ziyuan, the fact that how I played her was a stun and then or work to stun and then burst DPS, and that just was not working like I thought, or what I thought attackers were going to be when they first started. But now that they changed to attackers be more on field and then stun a little bit, or go to stunner and then attack and then stun, and then once you're in the stun window, do your chain attacks, and that's how I just play my Evelyn. It's quite fun that they've changed the attack to the way they have.
The majority of the stunners, feeling like, if they're gonna do more with actual stun stuff in the future, then I hope they do like more of what you said with like having more integration into like the burst thing, the burst DPS and stun, as opposed to like I think basically every DPS or every attacker, every DPS that isn't Hugo can be on-fielded in like some regard out of stun. And honestly, even Hugo, there are methods to which you can use him out of stun. If you have like not hormone equipped, you can use like Puffer Electro, for example. It's not very great right now, but it could be in the future. And other than that, it's like there are methods to where they want to like do most of what they do in stun, but also like, as you said, with like the general Evelyn play loop, it's like Julian, Haramasa to some extent, agents like Seed, and I feel like Orpheus, though I haven't played her too much. Like they gonna do some things out of stun, but it's substantial enough to where it's a significant portion of the damage isn't in stun. Or I guess that's the wrong way to say that. Like a significant portion of the damage is out of stun, even if more damage is in the stun, to the point where it's like, you want to build those resources before stunning, and so stunning too fast becomes a problem in your rotation. And if they're gonna leverage stunners for the sake of stunning more, like Hugo really likes and wants, then I hope they do so, because I like stunning. Stunning is cool. I was initially drawn to ZZZ because I thought the chain attack mechanic was really cool. And I just hope that they do a little more around that in the near future.
I hope so too, because I think I have about every stunner in my team. Apart from Lighter, true, I don't have Lighter, but otherwise I have every stunner in the team. And I mean, Softy, I have to agree with you. I think the wording falling off is not really correct. I mean, you can, in theory, say it if we put the point of view in the buffs of the stages we get in either Sheer or DA. And then you can say she falls off, but not because of her kit, but more about because she doesn't get buffed in any way. Like,
it's about development of the game state more than it is the actual like future proofing of the character. But I guess those kind of go hand in hand, because if the game develops in a way that doesn't support them or like makes what they do fall out of favor, then I guess that is kind of the case.
True. Actually, this is maybe an interesting topic. How would you guys actually, how would you improve it a little bit with the DA stuff, etc.? Like, would you consider it would be a good idea to have, like, instead of just 3 buffs, 4 or 5? What do you think, Ethan, about this idea?
I mean, I do like with Threshold Simulation how many buffs there are to pick from. I think there's 4 or 5, right?
There's 4, yeah.
There's 4. I really, personally, with DA, I think 3 buffs is like okay. What I would really like to see, and this might be like completely ignoring what you said, Thirsty, but I think Shiyu could use the 3 buff system too.
Or at least a 2 buff system, because
2
there's
buff,
2
3 buff
sides.
system.
Shiyu, definitely. This would be interesting. That's true.
Initially, that's what I thought Threshold Simulation was. I saw like 4 buffs on the screen. I'm like, oh, is Shiyu getting the buff system? But no, it was a whole new game mode. Oops.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is when you think about it. We're planning to do a episode on Threshold Simulation, but it's kind of just the cross of both of them.
Yeah.
So it sort of applies the idea that you're talking about, and I honestly didn't even think about it until you mentioned it. But yeah, I do like that idea.
It would be great. True.
I do feel like some rotations on Shiyu, like if you're not catered to the buff, it's like a big feels bad.
Yeah.
At least with DA, there is maybe 1 buff you can use at any given point.
Right, but you would like to have like 4 buffs in DA. You just say this is a no-go for you, or like not?
I mean, it would be okay, but
It's the fact that Deadly Assault has 3 bosses, so might as well just have 3 buffs to go, 1 with each boss. That's why I think that makes sense for that one.
I feel like it might be like choice paralysis at that point.
Whereas
Yeah, but the thing is about shilling. You know, in hindsight of shilling, I'm talking about.
oh
the
yeah,
buff
so
of it.
one shill buff and then the other 3 be generic. I like that idea.
There could be like a big giant sign that says "perfect for the agent on banner" for this.
You know, they already did that with the bosses and telling you like, hey, you should fight this boss with a rupture agent.
Yeah,
or an
all 2
attack
rupture agents in the game.
Yeah. 3.
Not yet.
No, wait.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
In 11 days as of this recording.
There was something. Yeah, true.
We had a topic here that said Lucia or bust. I feel like it's pretty
Yeah, that was
fair to
just
say that Oh, go ahead.
That was just basically when we were talking the buffs of Deadly Assault. We basically went over that when we were talking about the buffs in general for that. So we just sort of skipped Lucia or bust or Cedar or Fear bust.
Let's see. Well, I feel like I own Lucia. I have no one to use her with because my Monado is level 10. But I still feel like I can clear pretty fine without her. So
Just gotta wait for Yidari.
done a few tests with Monato with and without Lucia, and I did also pull Lucia's M1, but I haven't activated it yet, and I'm trying to hold off on activating it for as long as I can until I get my next DA benchmark done. But I might get greedy and want the kill on Wandering Hunter when Yidari comes out. So we might be upgrading a little early.
wait. How many Mindscapes are you getting at Hari?
It should be M0 P1, but if
Okay,
if
but
I
then
get
M1
lucky, I get
Fufu
lucky.
and then M1 Lucia, bro. That's gonna go kind of hard.
Yeah, I'm like very much expecting I'll be able to actually get a boss kill for the first time, and it'll be great.
I want to see that. I want to see the victory of Sevara.
Technically, second time if you consider threshold simulation. I did do a max score kill on the easy mode Pompeii with crit Bernice. If you
I think I
count that
saw
as a
that.
kill.
Yeah, I think you can count this as a kill.
Let's not
But
spoil
in any
Threshold
case-
though, because I want to go in another podcast next week. We will have a special podcast on Threshold Simulation with a special guest.
Look forward to that.
I started playing today, so I should be in a good pace. Hopefully.
Yeah. So let's end it with that. Before we go to the end the outro here, the Deadly Assault bosses for next week are 33.
33 is this current season.
Oh, so
23. This current season.
yeah, 23. So it's 22 is this season. 23 is next week.
Right.
So
Smart. Don't worry about it.
it is the new boss, Wandering Hunter, and Miasmic Fiend comes back, and then the Defiler. So all miasma bosses are here.
Oh, this will cause drama.
Yes, this will
there will
cause
be
drama.
A boss for every archetype: the Rupture specialty boss, the Anomaly specialty boss, and the Attack specialty boss.
Actually,
And-
yeah.
We actually won't have a whole lot to talk about in terms of what we haven't already talked about, because the buffs will be exactly the same next cycle.
No way. I haven't checked that yet.
Yes,
Yeah.
there will be Pinnacle, there will be Dream Delusion, and there will be Combined Attack. So
I'm hoping they change that,
Wait.
but
Hold on. The combined attack won't be electric though, right?
nope, it's still electric damage, and it's still 20 and 60 crit damage for 1 and 2 attackers.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Well, this will
I'm
be
hoping they
interesting,
change
I
it.
guess.
But
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope they will actually generalize it a little bit more, because this is.
I don't
yeah.
have high hopes, but
yeah,
Oh,
that's also why I'm saving my rant for next episode, because I
Oh,
have
well,
a
this will
lot
be-
to say.
Yeah,
Sounds-
this is like. That's good. I will wait for this one. I can't wait.
As long as it's not Butcher.
yeah.
He's getting
So-
legit.
Let's go to the outro. Thirsty, where can we find you?
You can find me in the Battle Hub Discord server. You can find me in my private Discord server, and mainly I do my stuff on YouTube. I will keep it at that.
Savadra, where can we find you?
I started streaming again, actually for real this time. I did 2 streams this past week on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Savadra. I also need to upload a YouTube video so that I can get my pinning comments permissions back from YouTube, because they took it away from me. And so expect a video on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/@Savadra. And please support it so I can tell YouTube I'm a good boy and all that sweet nothings that they want me to whisper.
I will safe glaze you in the comments.
Thank you.
I myself am a DA runner, and I've been doing a lot more Twitch live streams as well, but mostly do DA runs for YouTube. And then Ethan, I thank you for being a special guest. Where can we find you?
I sometimes do a YouTube, but when I do, it's at ZZZ Ethan. I upload with a dash, yes. I upload basically whatever I feel like it whenever I want. I'm very inconsistent, but sometimes I have something to say.
Sounds good. So that's our show. Thank you for watching. You guys have a good day.
I'll
Have a
take
good
care.
one.
Bye-bye.
Take care.